All right, we're back with another roundtable, Roundtable 97. I'm here with D Style Boxing, and I'm here with Dave Contreras from the Tri Chincones. And we got a lot to talk about this week. A lot of rumors, a lot of boxing news, a lot of fights that happened last week. Let's get it started with Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. Big matchup there. D Style, what did you think of Andy Ruiz's performance? Do you think it was lackluster, like a lot of people are saying, or do you think he looked okay?
Well, that's the problem. I think he looked okay, but a former world champion, a guy who wants to be world champion again, a guy who had the world in his hands. He once held three. He had three of the four belts at one point, right? He defeated Anthony Joshua, and I believe like he looked okay, and Ortiz looked terrible. Like that's just how I feel, right? Now Ortiz gave him some issues, and he was able to take some of those shots against Ortiz, the jab. At times Ortiz was popping, but what I noticed about Andy is that okay, so you're the smaller dude, not weight wise, but just frame wise and all that, and height wise. You're not a big monster puncher. You're a heavyweight. You could hurt guys. Obviously, all heavyweights could hurt every heavyweight, but you're not one of the punchers of the division. And yet you're waiting for one big shot against on basically a much older heavyweight. And we take his age at face value. The guy's in his early 40s, right? So this is an old heavyweight, and you don't overwhelm him. You're huffing and puffing just as much, if not more, than he is midway through the fight. Like you're like it's almost like Andy had more trouble finding the energy and the breath, okay, in this fight than with his opponent, and that's unbecoming of what should be one of a former heavyweight champion, someone who wants to contend for the heavyweight title. Boxers are known for their stamina; they're known for being in great shape, and I don't think Andy exemplifies that. I don't mean to quote unquote fat shame, like Joe Habib likes to say. But that's just the reality, right? I mean, when he comes out, he told me this, Joe. He comes out and he says, "Oh, I put on the weight because I wanted to take the punches better." No, you put on weight because you don't want to lose more weight. You don't want to get in better shape. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And the reality is, if Andy could just be about 10 pounds lighter, if Andy Ruiz could just be a little more disciplined. Like he could be a lot better, but look, I don't think the fight was terrible. A lot of people were saying it was a horrible fight. It was a decent scrap, but I mean, this is something I would expect out of a Friday night fight if it was 20 years ago or something. Like I didn't say to myself, "Wow, Andy's ready for the big time." Like I could really see this guy. Like I'm really impressed. Okay, I don't even know if he looked better in this fight or the Chris Arreola fight. I mean, other than the fact he wasn't knocked down this time. Where are the combinations? You're known for your hand speed, probably the fastest hands at heavyweight. Why aren't you throwing more punches? Why aren't you overwhelming this old dude and taking him out of there? I believe that's what he should have done, right? That's my opinion. But no, I don't think he looked good, and I was kind of disappointed in the performance overall.
How did you score the fight? Because I gave Ortiz 6 rounds. I thought the fight was even in
Six
rounds.
six 6 to the 3 knockdowns made the difference. I did want to mention that he did knock down Ortiz, but like it's like when you would knock him down, or one of the knockdowns was whatever. But when you would knock him down, it's where's that Ruiz from round 3 against Joshua that just overwhelmed him with the flurries? Like where was that? Like I don't know where he is. I just don't. I don't understand it personally. You know what I mean? Your advantage at that weight is volume and your hand speed. You got to use it. All right. That's how I feel. But I had it 6-6, and then of course the 3 knockdowns made the difference, which is big, by the way. I mean, think about it, Joe and David. Like if there's no knockdowns, Ortiz probably wins, right? Because I've always said a knockdown could be a 3-point swing. You can go from winning 10-9 to losing 8-10. That's 3 point. That's a 3-point swing, right? So that's a lot of points to lose. And does Andy win all 3 of those rounds? if he doesn't knock down Ortiz. Can Ortiz pull one of those without a knockdown? I believe so, right? So the knockdowns definitely, and of course they matter in boxing, so they make the difference. But I'm disappointed with where's the finisher at, right? Isn't that what impresses about Andy against Joshua, that he finished him in that 7th round? Where's that Andy Ruiz at? Because he's been missing since that fight.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because one judge had it 113 and 112, so it was really close on one of the cards. I guess one of the judges gave Ortiz 7 rounds, so it was a close fight without the knockdowns. Really was. Dave, what did you think of the performance? Do you think Ruiz kind of looked a little bit lackluster?
You know what? I was disappointed with the fight. I was expecting a lot more. I think, and don't quote me on this, I had read it earlier today. I didn't get a chance to look at my notes, but I believe that Ruiz threw 300 punches throughout the fight. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I believe Ortiz threw 800 punches. It's something like that, maybe 5 and 8, whatever it is. But it was Ortiz threw many more punches than Andy Ruiz. Now, if Ortiz is 43 years of age, and Rick Lasser swears that he's 53 years of age, which he probably is in his 50s. I think he's older than 43, but it doesn't matter. I was expecting an Andy Ruiz to come in. I've been following his training. I've been following the pictures that they've been posting, and it's all fake news. It's all fake advertising. I was expecting, when Andy took off his shirt, I wasn't expecting a 6-pack or a 12-pack. But I was expecting some muscles. I was expecting a thinner, Andy. And when I found out that he came in weighing as much as he did when he fought Joshua, well, I'm a firm believer that muscle weighs more than fat. So I go, okay. But when he took off his shirt during the weigh-in and during the fight, you know what? Andy's problem is he has no discipline. And I agree with you, D-Style. You know what? He's probably one of the fastest heavyweights that they have out there today. He's a great counter puncher. And you know what? We just did not see the same Andy. After he won his championship, Andy went downhill from there. Even when he fought Chris Arreola, he's in his 40s also. I mean, and he fought well, but I was expecting Andy to come back with fire. We didn't see it. Yes, he had a new trainer, Eddie Reynoso. Now he has another new trainer. So he's changed 3 trainers since the World Championship fight. And with that said, you know what? I don't believe that he has the discipline. And like everybody said that, it's all been programmed for him to fight Wilder, the winner of Wilder and Helenius. And if he does fight Wilder, I think he's going to reveal the real Andy Ruiz. I don't see Andy changing. And I agree with you, D-Style, that if he lost 10 pounds, that he would be a lot faster and, you know what, more mobile. And I think that it's not going to, diminish his punching power, but I don't think he has the discipline. I think that Andy now is in it for the money, and I think the Wilder fight's going to bring him a lot of money. I don't see the championship in his eyes. I don't see him, even though he's always talking about God, always talking about championship, that he wants to go back again, he doesn't have the discipline. To answer your question, I had it 6-6 also, but with the knockdowns, they gave him the win. But I don't see any difference if he does fight Wilder, if he wins against Helenius. I don't see Andy. I think, like I said, he's going to be exposed because I see Wilder knocking him out.
Yeah, I was going to say, what? The best shape I ever seen, like if anybody wants to see my ideal Andy Ruiz, like how I would like him to be every fight, it is the Alexander Dimitrenko fight, okay, yeah. Which was April right before the Joshua fight. Mm-hmm. He went in there, the hand speed looked good, the body work was great. I mean, he just overwhelmed, and this is a big guy he fought. Yes. Dominated him, stopped him, right? And then that camp, that discipline he had in that camp, is really what won him the Joshua fight.
Exactly.
Because yeah. Obviously we know what happened with Big Baby Miller, and Andy got to step in, right? We know the story. He texted, Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn said, okay, let's go ahead and do it, right? And Andy was already in fighting shape. He didn't take any punishment in that fight. He already had a camp. He actually came in heavier and for the Joshua fight, right? But that was like a perfect storm because Andy was already in a position where he already trained his ass off and was already in fighting shape. Okay, and he was sharp because he just had like basically like a sparring match, and then you saw what happened in the rematch. I mean, with all the money in the world and all this, people always talk about how fighters with money have all the advantages, but how often do we see fighters with money? They're not motivated. They're not hungry like that.
Yeah.
Now, while Andy was hungry, it was just a different type of hungry.
Yeah.
But like that's just.
Well, I think Andy's always hungry. That's his problem.
He had a cigar too many. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
That is the best Andy Ruiz I ever seen. And anybody, a lot of people haven't seen that fight. Go watch that fight. That is the ideal. And listen, I hear the chat. People keep saying the Queen passed away. We know, guys.
And you know what? Even when he fought Parker, I don't know if you guys got a chance. I saw that fight. I had Andy winning that fight. I think they robbed him. I think that they robbed him that night. But I had Andy winning that night. Like I said, I've been a huge Andy Ruiz fan. I've been following. I've been to a lot of his fights, sitting front row, watching him. And it's not the same Andy Ruiz anymore. After he won that championship, you know what? That spoiled him, and he doesn't have the same mentality that he once had. And I don't know if you know this, D-Style, but during that time, he was actually, I believe, living in somebody's garage in the downtown LA area, one of the trainers. That's how poor he was. He didn't have any money after the Dermachenko fight, after that one fight. And after the Ruiz fight, that's when he went and bought the $1 million home, bought the Rolls Royce, bought his mama house, which is honorable. But you know what? He just went downhill, started partying, put all the, whatever he did in his life. He lost the eye of the tiger, I guess.
Yeah, like isn't it very similar to basically what happened to Buster Douglas?
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Douglas. And it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
At this stage of Andy Ruiz's career, we still have to talk about, is he going to come in shape or not? At this point, at this level, this is your job. It's the requirement. It's the norm. We shouldn't even have to ask ourselves these questions or even think about this stuff, right? Because again, it's your job.
Yeah.
And the whole constant changing of trainers and I just don't think this guy really knows where he is in his career right now. I think he's all over the place. I think he's still searching for himself. And I just think he's got a lot of issues moving forward. And I think he's going to have challenges moving forward because he hasn't looked good in these last two fights at all. He looked very uninspired. And I don't know if he could just flip the switch in a Deontay Wilder fight, because I'm pretty confident Deontay Wilder should beat Helenius, and I'm pretty confident that that's going to be the next fight. And I'm just being honest. If the Ruiz that went into the ring against Areola and Ortiz shows up against Wilder, he's going to get hurt. He's going to get starched. Yeah. So something's got to change.
I agree.
Big question is, at this point, can it change? Because he's been inconsistent his whole career. He's had bad habits, and there's a pattern of bad behavior that has been going on for a long time. And evidence thus far is showing us that it's probably not going to change.
You know who I would love to see him fight? Otto Wallin. That would be a great fight.
I think Wallin would beat him.
Oh, yeah, so do I. But I think that would be a great fight to see him fight him, a person like him.
Yeah. Another fight on the undercard that we were really interested in was the big comeback of Abner Mares after a long, long layoff. How old is Abner Mares now? What's he, like 37 years old?
37. His eyes are like 75.
Okay. But he's an old 36. He's a 36 with a lot of miles on him. And usually in those lighter weight classes, it's harder for those guys, the wear and tear on their body, having to make weight all those years. He's been up and down. Came back, looked very, very uneventful. The fight was very uneventful with Miguel Flores. And I didn't know what we were going to get. I was surprised that, Mares looked that lackluster. He just looked like he just didn't have anything, in my opinion. He started strong, but he faded badly.
You know what? I disagree with you. I think the first 3-4 rounds, it was a different Abner Mares.
He started strong, like I said.
Yeah, he started
what I'm saying, he started strong, but he faded so
he did.
poorly.
He faded.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, he started so strong.
Yes, he did.
And then he just faded so badly. Like, that's never been Abner Mares. So the question remains, but off of this performance, I actually thought Flores eked it out. But off of this performance,
yes,
should he continue? Because if he steps it up, this version of Mares is not going to do good against the iron in the division. I'll start with you, Calix. What did you think of Mares?
Like y'all just said, mixed bag. Very much a mixed bag. I'm surprised he's still in there. Started off strong, and then you started to see the fading as the fight went on. I was fine with the draw. I was fine with it. But I don't want to see this go down a path that's going to get ugly, right? Abner Mares has had a great career. He's had his time. But when you start to deal with eye injuries, eyes are dangerous. You want them. You want to be able to see your children when they grow up. You want to be able to see your grandchildren. Eyes are dangerous. And somebody needs to get in there and say, look, you had your time. Now is not it. I was really concerned that the whole point of this, the whole point of Mares coming back on this card, on this card, is they were feeling it out to see how good he looked and if there's a possibility that they could put him in there with Tank in December. And I'm almost happy that he didn't look all that great throughout 10 rounds and consistent, because I did not want to see it get to that. I did not want to see that. So if they go forward with Abner Mares, they got to be very careful with who they put him in there with, because the eye injuries are nothing to play with. And sort of a mixed bag in this fight. He had his moments early, but as the fight went on, you saw the rust of not being in there for 4 years. You saw the rust of, and then you don't know what the confidence is knowing that you have eye injuries. You know, every time you take a punch, you got to worry. So there's a lot to be concerned about. I'm hoping that Abner Mares calls it a career, and he's got a nice setup here. He's a commentator. He's got a nice setup. He's got a beautiful family. I hope he enjoys it.
Yeah, this is a guy that doesn't really have to box anymore. He's got a job, so I don't know what he's doing. But Dave, you think he should call it a day? Or
you know what? I don't know if you guys noticed, but when he was fighting, they kept showing Leo Santa Cruz. You know, they kept scanning him and they kept showing him, and we were told by several sources that work with Abner Mares in his camp that was one of his main goals, to get back in the ring again, look good. And he wants that trilogy with Leo Santa Cruz. But I don't see that happening, because you know what? He had probably trouble making 135. I don't see Leo coming up from 126 to 135. So he would have to go maybe to 130. Leo will maybe go to 130. But I don't see that happening. And you know what? Even with Leo Santa Cruz today, it's a different Abner Mares. He's not going to last the 12 rounds. So, yes, Joe, I believe that, you know what, it's time for him to hang up the gloves and to stick to what he does best, commentating, and keep wearing those glasses, because you know what, they hide the injuries that he's had to his eyes very well. Yeah.
Do you think he should pack it up? What do you think, brother?
Here's what I think. So just two things I want to mention. Number one, look, I understand Abner Mares is a grown man. I understand that Abner Mares is going to do whatever. If he's allowed to do it, he has every right to do it, right? So I'm not here to bash him as an individual, as a fighter. I respect him a lot, but the institution of boxing, whatever that is, whether you want to see the promoters, the commission, or whatnot. Okay, I don't care how many Rocky speeches from Rocky Balboa movie, this dude gives you, okay, about his right to do what he wants to do. You need to protect the sport of boxing, okay? When Emil Griffith killed a man on TV, they took boxing off of television. There are consequences, okay, when bad things happen, right? That's why we've gone from 15 to 12, because Boom Boom Mancini killed a man in the ring, right? Like, these unfortunate things happen. And And look, knock on wood, I don't want anything to happen to Mares, but the chances of something happening to him are just higher because the dude has two problems. Okay, like I'm just saying, and two of them are the red. Like the guy's got 99 problems, and two of them are two retinas. Okay, this is serious here. And if something happens to Mares, we all suffer. Like obviously, we would have to suffer the consequence of something happening to another prize fighter. But on top of that, how does that impact the sport as a whole? Right. So irresponsible people need to do responsible things. I don't want to see Abner Mares in the ring with Tank Davis. If that happens, that would be a crime. Okay, that would be unacceptable because they also showed Tank Davis there, right? They said, "Oh, Tank Davis, he's here to enjoy an Abner Mares fight." Okay, whatever you say. So look, it's not about Mares; it's about the sport. The people in charge need to tell them to sit down and just enjoy doing some boxing commentating. Is what I think.
It's very interesting too because we bring up the eye injuries, and a lot of people that have had retina injuries and the retina surgery, you'll see, after the surgery and later in their life, they continue to wear sunglasses because a lot of times there is side effects to that surgery. When the bright lights do irritate the eyes after the retinal surgery, and immediately after the fight, he put the sunglasses on. So I'm sitting there saying to myself, are those eyes ever going to be 100%? And if they're not 100%, then why risk making them even worse than they are? You know what I mean? So that was a telltale sign to me. Like, damn, man. I mean, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing, man?
Joe, I don't think it's because of the light. I think because of all the surgeries he's had, he's actually cross-sighted now.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
You've seen that. I mean, he's cross-sighted. So I think that it's self-conscious. He immediately puts the glasses on because he doesn't want to look cross-sighted on camera. So I think it's more the light bothering him. I think he's self-conscious of him being cross-sighted. I think it's more of that.
Yeah, because I've seen other people that had that surgery, and they tell me they wear glasses because the lights bother their eyes. I've seen that as well too. So
is that why his opponent was like looking that way, like when they were fighting?
Take it easy, buddy.
Dude, you're killing me.
Killing me this
He's over
week.
there. He's over there.
He would look away and like Mares, like you see, that's how we know Mares don't got it no more. If the dude looking that way.
Yeah, but he faded really, really badly.
He did
Towards the end of that fight.
Yeah.
He looked exhausted. Imagine if that was a 12-round fight too. Jesus.
I mean that's why Andy looked good to some people because they compared him to Mares. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know if you knew, but his opponent Miguel Flores was actually knocked out by Eduardo Ramirez, the guy that fought Isaac Pitbull Cruz. So I mean, that opponent, I mean, he was 25-4 when he came in, but he wasn't one of the greatest. I mean, he fought somebody that was probably at the end of his career also.
Well, even this version of Mares wasn't supposed to go to a draw. He was supposed to win this fight.
Yes, he was. He was
supposed to win this fight.
Yeah.
Well, another big fight that I'm kind of excited about. It just got announced. It's going to be December 3rd. This fight's going to be is Jaun Francisco Estrada, the third one versus Roman Gonzalez, a trilogy. And the first two fights were barn burners. They were fight of the year candidates. You can only hope and suspect strongly that this third fight is going to be pretty much similar to the first two because those were beautiful fights. So I want to go around the panel and get your opinion. Are you guys excited for this third fight? And do you think it's going to live up to the first two? Because I'm hearing some people saying, why are we getting a third one? There's other fighters that Estrada could fight. He could go for unification. What's going on here? But like I said, I like these trilogies. I liked the Pacquiao Marquez trilogy. I like the Corrales Castillo trilogy. So I like these types of rivalries. But we'll start with you, Calix. What do you think of this fight? Is it going to live up to the hype?
Love it. You know my guy's Chocolatito, and I have all respect for Gallo Estrada being a Chocolatito fan and knowing what Gallo Estrada has offered Chocolatito. If you're connected with Chocolatito, who is arguably top 3 of our era, I mean, in my opinion, Chocolatito was the fighter of the decades from 2010 to 2020. 27 fights in that decade, 20 knockouts. He had more knockouts than most guys had fights in that decade. In both fights were close fights. I thought Chocolatito won both, but I strongly believe Chocolatito won the second fight. But the Estrada fans have a strong case about the first fight. The first fight was a lot closer than the scorecards said. Estrada did a lot better in that first fight than he was given credit for. So I love the fight. I think people need to stay away from the narrative that since Gallo Estrada had trouble on Saturday night, people are automatically assuming that he's not going to fight well against Chocolatito in December. I would caution people to stay away from that because I think Gallo Estrada was fighting sort of down to the competition, and I don't want to discredit his competition because he was better than he was given credit for. Mm-hmm. Gallo Estrada, this fight was set up for him to look good in on Saturday. He was a minus 800 favorite. The announcement was already set. The Zone had already set the announcement as soon as the fight was over. They announced Chocolatito versus Estrada 3. So he was supposed to look good in this fight, but he didn't. The ring rust showed. When you're in the lower weight classes and you're fighting these guys who throw a lot of punches, they're going to jump on you early and they're going to make you pay for the ring rust. However, the Gallo Estrada that we saw on Saturday night is not going to be the Gallo Estrada we see December 3rd against Chocolatito. It's going to be more of the same. It's going to be a close fight. It's going to be 12 rounds again. They're going to go 12 rounds again. And it's going to be another classic, in my opinion. And it may even be better than the first 2 fights. And the reason for that is as guys diminish, as their reflexes go down, we see even more action. We see even more punishment, more blood in the ring. So what I'm also excited about is Bam Rodriguez has been announced that he's going to be on this card as well on the undercard. I think they're doing a great job of keeping Bam active and putting him on meaningful undercards at the same time and bringing him up. So I'm excited for that. Wherever that fight lands, I'm likely going to be there. I'm likely flying out December 3rd for wherever this fight's going to be because I see Bam. I'm flying out next weekend to see Bam on the undercard of Chocolatito, Canelo Triple G. Bam is one of my favorite fighters coming up, and I tend to think that Chocolatito and Estrada are on their way out, and I think it's a good idea to keep Estrada away from Josh Franco. Because I think Josh Franco would usher – Josh Franco is a beast, man, and Bam's a beast. And Josh Franco would usher Estrada out the door. So I like the meaningful trilogy. It's going to get Chocolatito and Estrada a very good payday. And it's more even fight than we would have gotten had it been Estrada versus Franco. I think strongly that Franco would have won that fight.
Yeah. D, what do you think of this matchup? You excited about this?
I'm very excited about it. And look, obviously, Estrada didn't look his best. And I think it could have been one of these things or a combination of all of them, right? I think maybe he wasn't inspired to fight this guy. A lot of ring rust, maybe a lot of disappointment. I mean, the fight with Franco was the top bid for that fight was like 120,000 or something. And they had to split it between the both of them. I thought that was a slap to the face of Gallo Estrada, especially after a fight of the year that he gave, Matchroom before that. And then Golden Boy, I mean, that's what you bid for Franco? That's it? After you weren't even paying the guy? Top Rank was paying him to fight Maloney and all that. Top Rank was taking care of your fighter, and then you still could have bid higher than that? I think that's embarrassing, to be honest with you, right? But nonetheless, I mean, obviously, maybe a lot of that frustration, and I also think the reflexes are kind of slowing down. And with these smaller guys, like, it's easier to tell because they're fighting at such a fast pace. So it's easier to tell when they're losing reflexes. You know what I mean? They can't, like, he's not fighting a slow-ass Ortiz like Andy Ruiz was. You know what I mean? He's fighting somebody who's constantly coming at him. You know what I mean? And it's just like when you drive fast, what happens? The road becomes narrow. You know what I mean? These little guys are fighting at a very fast pace. So that's why their careers are faster. That's what we notice when their reflexes are waning a little bit. Now I'm hoping while I do believe the reflexes are slowing down, I'm hoping it was more not inspired, rust. I'm hoping it has more to do with that. And I'm just saying that because, I mean, he looked really good in the Chocolatito fight. I mean, those guys threw a record amount of punches. So I just can't imagine why he would drop down that low. You know what I mean? He was getting hit too much. And I think, one has to question how is he going to do against Chocolatito. But I think Gallo will rise to the occasion. I do. He knows what's at stake. He knows what's up. And he knows, despite however people feel about the two fights, they're 1-1 officially. Okay? To the winner goes the spoils. All right? Ali got all the spoils when he beat Frazier. That's the way it works. Barrera got the spoils when he beat Morales. I didn't like it, but that's the way it goes. So this is a legacy fight. That's what this is. And I'm hoping, Matchroom forks out that money. Okay, because we hear a lot about, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, women don't get a fair shake in boxing and they don't get paid well. And yeah, what about the little dudes? The little dudes don't get paid well at all. Okay, so I'm just saying. So hopefully they help them out with a little bit of pocket change right there. Put the pounds. They're pound for pound fighters, but put the pounds in their pockets.
Yeah, I agree with Calix. I think Franco would is a little bit too fresh and he's on the up right now, and I think these guys are kind of on the down, so it wouldn't make sense, for a fight with Franco. And the Zone wanted this fight, so I'm sure these guys are getting paid pretty well for this fight, and at this age they might as well close out their career strong. And like Calix said, I mean, because their reflexes are dulling, they're more vulnerable now. And when fighters are more vulnerable, the fights become more exciting because obviously there's less defense and more offense. And that could be the case here. I mean, these guys, when they meet up, they go at it, right? They definitely go at it. And it's just you put two guys together, like when you put Pacquiao and Marquez together, when you put Corrales and Castillo together. It's just certain guys, when you put them together, they just make for great fights. And even Canelo Golovkin, like Calix said, this third one, because of the styles, it could be another exciting fight because the first two fights are pretty good, right? So,
I'll be really, really frank. Like the way I scored both fights, it's like the opposite. Like I scored the first fight for Gallo and I scored the second fight for Chocolatito.
Yeah,
that's how I scored the fights. But they have it reversed, but that's how close the fights were, in my opinion.
Yeah. I did think Estrada eked out the second fight, but a lot of people do think Chocolatito won that second fight.
That's the consensus, yeah.
Most people do think Chocolatito won it. So, all right, Tyson Fury with his clout chasing ass calls out Anthony Joshua, and he keeps moving the goalposts every hour on the hour, every day. He's coming up with something new. Now it's got, it has to be, it was a 60-40 split. Joshua took the bait, right? Now he knew Joshua wanted to fight on December 17th. That's what Eddie Hearn has been very public in saying. So what's Tyson Fury do? Well, I want the fight on November 26th or I want it on December 3rd. Either way, both guys are going to be fighting by the end of the year. And Eddie Hearn had some guys in mind for Joshua, but I just think Fury, the attention seeker that he is, wants to just have people talk about him. He wants to be in the headlines, and now that the 60-40 split was called, the bluff was called. Now he wants to mess around with the dates. I don't think Fury wants this fight. I think he's clout chasing. I think he's just trying to be an attention seeker, like I said. Dave, what do you think, man? What's going on with this?
What? I think that they need to test Fury for controlled substances. I think the guy is using dope again. It's probably cocaine, or it might even be meth, or it might be fentanyl. And I think he doesn't sleep all night. And I think in the morning when he wakes up, whatever time, wherever time zone that he's in, he gets his phone and all of a sudden he gets on Twitter and whatever comes to mind, he tweets it. You know what I mean? And then after he tweets it, he goes, "What the heck did I just do?" But everybody takes it like, like it's, something that is solid. Once again, you know what? First he retires, then I'm coming back. And then I'm retired again. Then I'm going to go to WWE. I mean, this guy's all over the place. I mean, by looking at him and what he's doing now on, by sending all these tweets, and you know what, I don't think he's all there, but do I want to see that fight? You know what? I think it'd be a good fight. I think Anthony Joshua, he should have a fight before he fights Fury, because you know what? I don't think he's ready for him. I think it'd be a good fight to watch. But you know what? He's already in decent shape. Hopefully he stays with Robert Garcia. And if the fight does happen in December or November 26th, whatever date they plan on, I look forward to it. I think it's going to be a great fight.
Okay, Alex, what do you think, man? Is Fury selling wolf tickets once again? Is he getting everyone riled up for nothing?
What do the kids call it? Beep, cap?
Stop the cap!
Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Look, I'm keeping up with my Tyson Fury bingo card. This is just the past couple months. Calls out the UFC fighter. Calls out the Icelandic strongman champion / actor. Calls for Chisora trilogy. Hires a new trainer. Retires 2 days later. He vacates his ring belt. Unretires. Then he says he'll fight Usyk for free. Then he says he needs $500 million to fight Usyk. Then he gets mad that Usyk wants to fight in 2023. So he offers AJ a take it or leave it deal with multiple poison pills in it. And that's what this is. They're offering AJ a deal that should be, and this is how they're looking at it, I'm assuming, impossible to accept. They're going to throw all kind of things in there that AJ can't possibly agree to. He can't possibly agree to 100% of this. And they're saying, take it by the end of the day, 100% of it. This is Tyson Fury's world. You're living in Tyson Fury's world. Take it or leave it. And of course, AJ is going to have concessions to the deal. Nobody's going to accept the deal that quickly. All right. I hope he does. I hope AJ calls a bluff and says, I accept everything, and we get the fight. But we know that's not what's going to happen here. And they're going to make AJ out as the fall guy. This is Tyson Fury clout chasing off of AJ. But to me, it makes Fury look bad because he's supposed to be the heavyweight kingpin right now, even though Usyk is now the lineal champion. And he's calling out a guy coming off of 2 straight losses. So that tells you how much power that AJ still has, even though he's lost 3 out of his last 5 fights. He's still a cash cow in the division. But I'm just frustrated with the Tyson Fury news cycle. Between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, I mean, they're just they're competing against each other to see who is the craziest right now. Deontay Wilder's out there saying he wants a 4th fight with Tyson Fury, that Tyson Fury cheated him. He's still on that wave. He's still on the Tyson Fury cheated me wave. He still hasn't accepted it. He's calling for a 4th fight. And they made this fight with Helenius a WBC eliminator. It's just frustrating to see these 2 guys do this. I just want a normal, sustainable heavyweight champion, a guy who can give us undisputed, and he'll still be around 3, 4, 5 years from now. And I don't know who that guy's going to be. I don't know if that guy's out there.
Hey, guys, I have to log out. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I got a phone call I got to make at 9 o'clock. Thank you once again, guys. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. All right.
Peace out, bro.
D-Style, what's going on with your man Fury here, bro?
I like what Calix said, because you could literally do a whole bingo game, like a loteria, based on Tyson Fury. Like, you know what I mean? And we could just shout these things out, like El Pendejo, like you know what I mean? La Mentirosa. Like, we could just keep pulling them out. We could play all with pictures of Fury. This shit's crazy. Here's the thing about Tyson Fury. So the guy announces his retirement, and he does an interview on a legit news station in the UK the next day, right? And he swears up and down. Now, I know people are going to, Piers Morgan isn't legit. Like, I don't care about it. I'm just, get my point, ladies and gentlemen. He swears up and down, no, I'm retired. I've done everything I could in the sport of boxing. I've done everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's done everything. He's accomplished everything. He's content. He's going to go out on top. He swears up and down. As soon as Usyk wins, he's not retired. You dos us! Bring out the checks and this and that, and then take out the checks and this and that, and like I don't know. The next weekend he's retired again, and then he's in WWE television, wanted to challenge Roman Reigns for the WWE title apparently, right? And he's knocking out dudes trying to cash in Money in the Bank, and then another week he wants to fight UFC fighters and comment about how big their dicks are, right? And then another week, okay, the dude wants to fight. What's the dude's name? The Mountain or whatever. Like he wants to box like a tough man dude, or not even a tough man, like a strongman competition guy, right? Like he wants to box this dude, and he's traveling all over the world looking for him, and we got to do this or whatever. And then he calls out Chisora. He tells everybody that Chisora's ducking the smoke. Well, I didn't know this fight was on the table. I didn't know this fight was like people were clamoring for a Chisora fight. He's ducking the smoke, right? Chisora says, "Well, tell your mommy and daddy, Aram and Warren to send me the fucking paperwork then, because he's not going to say no. It's a big payday for him, right? He's bullshitting about that. Then he's calling out AJ, right? Oh, actually, he wants to fight Usyk now. Like he wants to fight Usyk yesterday. Like the dude just had a fight." And then it comes out he has a hand injury. Oh, I want to fight Joshua. Joshua, let's do the fight. Let's do it for all of England. Let's do it for England. All British matchup. Let's do it. Me, Tyson Fury. You, AJ. Let's do it for the British Championship. All Britain for the WBC. Well, whatever the fuck he wants to say, right? Or he's gonna do it, and he's gonna do it for free. He's gonna fight it for free. But then he wants to do it 60-40. Joshua says yes. Then he's demanding certain dates. You were just retired. Now you got to fight on a certain date. Like this is bizarre, like beyond bizarre. Okay, this is one of the most bizarre situations ever. Okay, this dude, he's not playing 3-dimensional chess or 4-dimensional chess. He's not thinking this ahead. Tyson Fury is simply full of shit. He's making it up as he goes, okay? The dude is making it up as he goes along. That's the story of Tyson Fury, okay? And will the fight with AJ happen? Maybe. I don't know. But now he's putting deadlines, and he's in such a rush to fight, but he was just retired, though. He's in such a rush to fight now, but he wanted to fight Chisora. He wanted to fight the UFC champion. He wanted to fight a tough man contest guy. Oh no, he wanted to go to WWE and do an event over there. So what do you want to do, dude? You can't do all these things at once, right? Or maybe he can because he's Tyson Fury, right? But it is what it is. He's full of shit. I don't think he wants to fight this year. Like he'll probably fight next year, but I think he's full of shit that he wants to fight in November or December. I don't believe him. Plus, it's bullshit that you want Joshua to fight you in November. Okay, that's bullshit. The dude just had a fight. It was a pretty brutal fight too.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, since he knows Usyk wants to fight in the spring, all of a sudden he wanted to fight in December. All of a sudden, he was just retired. He just said. What was that, a month ago? This was a month ago. Not even a month ago. I have no heart for the sport anymore. I've given it all. Now all of a sudden he wants to fight immediately. And he can't wait till December 17th to do it. We got to do it on December 3rd because I got to fight in February and March. Move the other fight back 2 weeks. You can do that. You just said February or March. And now you're asking Anthony Joshua to turn around 2 weeks quicker. Just saying.
Let me tell you something. If you tell Usyk, I'm going to have to fight you till April or May because Joshua wants to fight on this day, Usyk don't give a fuck. Usyk will say, okay, fine. Mm-hmm. Do what you got to do.
There's probably not a bigger Tyson Fury fan on the planet than me. I got 2 Tyson Fury shirts in my closet right now. Guilty. But even now, myself, after all this, I can't even defend this. Even I'm getting irritated now. All of the things that he offered Joshua were offered to him last year, and he said no, right? When he wasn't a champion not even last year, before even last year, when he wasn't even a champion, right? And they offered him 60-40. He said, no, I want 50-50. Same situation with Usyk. Usyk wanted to fight him, and he's like, no, I want to fight in between, then I'll fight you. Because I guess Usyk wanted to fight him at a specific date, and he's saying it's too long in between fights. I need to get a fight in between. I don't know what it is with Tyson Fury, why he needs these stay busy fights. You're the heavyweight champion of the world. At this point, the stay busy fights are no longer required. I know you can't fight the iron back to back to back to back to back, but, no one's going to want to see you fight these Francisco Piñetas anymore now that you're the heavyweight champion of the world. So you would never accept the deal that you're giving Joshua. And like Khalek said, that deal is filled not only with poison pills, it's just blatantly laced with arsenic because it's a ridiculous deal. It's a ridiculous deal. The guy is coming off a hard loss, back-to-back losses, just fought in September. You want him to turn around and fight in November? I mean, come on, bro. Right? And then he's willing to meet you halfway and say December 17th because he's going to fight on December 17th anyways, right? And now you're saying December 3rd. You won't even give him that extra 2 weeks because you don't want the fight. You want to just play these games. And after a while, when you keep getting people's hopes up high, you keep leading people on because there's a lot of people that believe your BS, right? I'm not one of them, but there's a lot of people that believe your BS. Even when that whole thing with when the Fury Joshua, way back when, when the arbitration was going on, I told everyone that fight wasn't going to happen. I told everyone he was just blowing smoke. And all he's doing, it's crazy because everyone wants to argue back and forth. Who's the bigger name? Who's the bigger name? Who's the bigger name? But Fury is basically confessing that Joshua is the bigger name because he keeps using it to promote himself. And he continues to do it. So as much as it goes against the norm and it even goes against logic, Joshua lost 2 in a row, lost 3 of his last 5. Why is this guy still so popular? You know why this guy is still so popular? I'll tell you why. Because he fought all his mandatories. He legitimately wanted to become undisputed. He whatever he said, he did. He never bullshitted the fans. The worst thing you could say about him is he had that outburst, and I was pretty hard on him about that outburst. But, he apologized, whatever. But he is what the heavyweight champion is supposed to be. He honors the title. He doesn't play games. He's not out there to be a character. I understand it's good to be a character. It's good to get attention. It's good to talk trash or whatever. But it gets to a point now where it's becoming farcical. It's becoming a joke, right? It gets to a point where, okay, enough is enough. This shit's not funny anymore. And this was a guy that was laughing at all the jokes. I'm not laughing anymore. And I'm an idiot, and I laugh at everything, but I'm not laughing anymore. So the shit's got to stop, man. Shit's got to stop. And you're the heavyweight champion of the world, right? Why do you even need an in-between fight? Why not just wait for the unification fight in March? Because you're going to get a stay busy fight. What happens if you get cut? What happens if you break a hand? Nothing is promised in this sport. Just wait for Usyk. Okay, you fought in April. So you've taken 8 months off before, right? Wait for Usyk. You want to tune up, go fucking spar in the gym. Because you want a sparring session, you want to get paid for it, spar in the gym. Because again, you're the heavyweight champion in the world. Who's out there? Who's he going to fight? He's not going to fight Otto Wallin again. Chisori's not going to fight. Who can he fight besides Usyk? Who does anyone want to see him fight? Now, Joshua can fight anyone and people will pay for it. They just will. Because again, Joshua's vulnerable. Now there's question marks. Can he come back? Will he ever be the old Joshua? Right? He's vulnerable. So you may throw a Dillian White in there with Joshua right now. There's a question mark there. It's not like throwing Dillian White in there with Tyson Fury. There's really not a question mark. But there's a question mark when you throw Dillian White in there with Joshua. There's a question mark if you were to throw a Hrgovic in there. There would be a question mark if you were to throw a Daniel Dubois in there or a Joe Joyce in there at some point. These are all question mark fights. Because, again, Joshua has shown vulnerability. Tyson Fury is the heavyweight champ of the world. He's thought to be the best heavyweight in the world. He needs to start acting like it. Simple and plain. You know?
He's not gonna.
but speaking of Deontay Wilder, Calix, because you brought up a good point, and I kind of want to piggyback off that. He was doing an interview, or I think it was part of a press conference. I think it was a video teleconference, and he was asked a question by Sean Sattel. Shout out to Sean Sattel from Fight Hype, and asked him, "Could you ever be friendly with Tyson Fury like you are with Luis Ortiz?" And he said, "No, I don't condone cheating." So he's still holding on to that cheating narrative, right? And as you said, I just read an article on Boxing Scene. He's open to a fourth fight. He says, "I want to hurt that man." He would fight that guy 10 times just for the opportunity to be able to knock that guy out, right? This seems like this is going to stay with him for the rest of his life. This is a bitter pill that this guy's just not going to be able to swallow. So what are your thoughts on Deontay Wilder holding on to this? And do you think that possibly the WBC can maneuver him into a fourth fight? Let's start with you, Calix.
I think they can. Hell, they got Canelo and Triple G fighting for a Jaguar Warrior belt next weekend. They can do whatever they want. They can make up belts. They can make up titles. They can make up eliminators. They can do whatever they want. So, yes, that's possible. Yes, you're talking about two insane dudes. Like, they're in a battle right now to see who is the crazier out of the two. So I wouldn't put it past these guys to fight another time. I wouldn't. Now, as far as the comments, and I read the comments in their entirety, I made sure to get it in the proper context. And like you said, he was being asked a specific question, and he can't let this go. And the issue with it is this: he's out there saying that he wasn't gonna put this in the hands of the authorities. He knew Tyson Fury was cheating, but he wasn't gonna put it up to the authorities because he wanted to handle it himself. He wanted vigilante justice. He wanted to knock this man out. He didn't want to hand this man over to the authorities because he didn't want him to go to jail. And that way he couldn't fight him a third time. This is all Deontay Wilder's words. The issue with that is he didn't level out vigilante justice because he got knocked out again. And you can't say he cheated in the third fight because that proves that you didn't learn anything from the second fight or the first fight. If you know he was cheating in the second fight, then you do everything in your power to make sure the same thing doesn't happen in the third fight. So he's out there openly admitting that if he does really believe that Tyson Fury cheated, that they did nothing from the second fight to the third fight. They learned nothing from the second fight, and they let this man once again load up with his egg weights, poison him some kind of way, do whatever to where he would lose the third fight as well. So he's out there openly saying he cheated first fight, second fight, third fight. I don't know what to say about it anymore other than it's the frustration I have with this division. I once had high hopes for this division. You rewind back to what was that 2014 when Tyson Fury beats Vladimir Klitschko, and we're like, finally, we have an exciting heavyweight champion. He outboxed Vladimir Klitschko. We're out of the Klitschko reign, and we'll have the top guys. And he may not be as great as Klitschko was, but we're going to have an exciting heavyweight division again. And that didn't happen. It didn't happen because, and you can argue it's more exciting, but the transition didn't happen because Tyson Fury didn't fight his mandatories after that. He disappeared, and he's doing similar things right now. And it didn't happen because Deontay Wilder Once he started fighting top competition, he loses to Tyson Fury, and then we go over to this. So the boxing public has been very forgiving of these two guys. We've been very forgiving of Fury. We've been very forgiving of Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, we were very patient with him as he was coming up through the ranks because we understood he was raw. But these guys returned the favor by constantly punishing boxing fans with this nonsense that they're doing. Just fight the fights. Just fight the fights. All I want is a consistent heavyweight champion who wants to unify, who wants to defend, who wants to unify, and who wants to follow the 4-belt blueprint to become undisputed. And we can't get that. We can't get that because these two guys are crazy. Usyk comes in as a natural heavyweight, comes into this division. Now he's a lineal champion, has a WBA, WBO, and the IBF. But will he get a shot at the WBC? And even if he does, he's already signaled that he's likely on his way out. He's close to retirement. And then Anthony Joshua can't beat Usyk. And he quite possibly can't beat Fury or Wilder. So are we ever going to get – when are we going to get the sustainable heavyweight champion who wants to win the titles, wants to unify, wants to defend, and wants to be undisputed? Will we get an undisputed champion? I don't know. This division is on the spectrum.
I agree. I totally agree. I mean, we had a guy in Joshua. I wish we could put Fury's skills in Joshua's body. That's what we need to do. And then we'd have the perfect fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go ahead, D.
This guy's still talking, bro. like this is crazy, dude. Like look. I don't even know. Like right now we have Joe B and we have Calix, right? If I was a guy that, let's say I had a bag of $100,000 and I gave it to Calix, take care of this bag for make sure nobody takes any of this money, all right? I get my bag back and there's $20,000 missing. And I blame Joe Habib, who wasn't even there. Okay, and I remember feeling kind of dizzy that day, so I blame him. He drugged me. He took my money. Even though Calix had it the whole time, he was watching it the whole time, but I blame Joe Habib. Joe Habib, you stole my $20,000. And I start defaming him. I start telling everybody he's a piece of shit, that he stole my money, right? And when people start asking me, well, didn't Calix have the bag? Like, no, well, I mean, you know. I mean, you let me worry about Calix, okay? But Joe B, like, this is equivalent, for those that don't get my point, JD's was in the locker room watching the hand wraps, okay? He was the one in charge of watching. So you're telling me that they snuck in a egg weight in front of JD's? And then beat the shit out of Wilder with an egg weight, dented the side of his head, and he's still employed? And then to make matters worse, he's the one you put in charge in the third fight to watch the fucking reps? Probably because you hired an idiot who requested them to open the gloves, and when they saw horsehair, they said, oh, see, it's different. Yes, sir, because he saw horsehair gloves. They're not foam gloves. Like this is like common sense, right? And then and you don't, it hasn't dawned on you that you were talked into wearing the same gloves that already injured your hand in the past because you were going to fight fire with fire? Oh, just wait. They were saying, oh, just wait. You wait till he's going to murder Fury with those illegal gloves. All he did was break his fucking hand is what he did. Okay? All he did was break his hand on Tyson Fury's head. That's all he did, or he hit the blubber, one or the other. Okay? Probably hit one of his man boobs and broke his hand and shit. Who knows what the fuck happened? But what I do know, what I will say is that Tyson Fury, okay, beat the shit out of this dude in that third fight. Well, what happened to him? We just want the third fight. At the end of the day, we just want the third fight. Remember because there was two types of Wilder fans, okay? Was he aggressive once? He cheated. Oh, he loaded. Ban him from the sport. He's a piece of shit. Right now, he is a piece of shit, but he's not a cheater. Like he didn't put egg weights in his glove. You know what I mean? Like, but what I'm saying is, then you have the passive aggressive Wilder fans. Oh no, God, all that is just talk. He just wants a third fight. That's all he wants. At the end of the day, all Fury want, all Wilder want. He just wants a third fight. That's all he wants, guys. Just let him have a third fight, and then we could put this to rest. So are you passive aggressive, the passive little pussy fans that they don't want to call out the other half of the Wilder fans? Are you finally going to open your mouth and finally say something? Or are you going to keep being a bunch of pussies and not call out Wilder for this, right? Are you going to keep acting like the emperor doesn't have fucking clothes on? Are you going to keep acting like your king don't have clothes on? Are you going to keep acting this way? This is disgraceful. And let me tell you something. I was talking to Joe B about this the other day. We have hundreds of thousands of boxing matches every year. Every year. There's hundreds of fights every month. And we could count in one hand the instances where somebody was caught cheating. So you're really acting like this is a prevalent thing? Oh, but it happened before. Russell Collins. Russell Collins did it. Therefore, Fury did it. They don't watch the gloves. Resto did it. Well, I already told you JD was watching, but people have escaped from prison. Does it mean that they don't have like high security at prisons or what? Is that what that means? You can't just like put an egg weight in a glove. That's never happened. Okay, Resto would have been caught and they were trying to put egg weights, okay, in the gloves. He would have been caught. All right? That is absolutely ridiculous. It's time to just accept the loss. Look, nobody's saying you got to be best friends with Fury, but stop saying we know what went on and we know what the real deal is. And I'm not reaching out to the Wilder fans that are unreachable. The ones, by the way, and I hate to keep going on this, but it is what it is. What about the Wilder fans that swore up and down? Oh, just wait. Once he knocks out Fury, the only reason we haven't released the evidence was because the champ wanted, his third fight, and it would jeopardize his opportunity to beat the fuck out of Fury. But once he fucks up Fury, we're going to release all the evidence. Where's the evidence at? I'm still waiting.
It's in the Matrix.
Well, where's all this evidence that was going to prove? What happened to the evidence that, we have evidence that he was drugged. And when it comes out, what are you going to say? Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to say because you haven't shown it yet. There is no evidence. And I'm sorry. He showed he was guilty when he threw in a towel because that showed guilt is not evidence, okay? That's actually laughable and that's stupid. All right? And yes, that's something I've heard people say. So it is what it is. It's time to move on, okay? And to all the passive Wilder fans that were saying all of that was just to try and get Fury in the third fight. That's all it was. Well, he's still talking. So what are you going to say now? Ball's on your court. Are you still going to be a bunch of passive dudes acting like he's not just being a sore loser? Or what are you going to do? And I'm still waiting. I want the proof, by the way. If it could be proven, Joe B, if it could be proven this guy had an egg weight, don't you want to know? Don't you want this evidence?
Yeah, I want to see it.
And look, people want to know. People keep asking how are we still at this point, and the reason we're at this point is we're dealing with two crazy dudes, two insane dudes. First of all, and the issue is Wilder's saying he didn't go to the authorities because he wanted vigilante justice, but he really didn't bring it to authorities who can look for proof and do anything because he knew there was nothing there. That's number one. And number two, although he's leveling all kind of defamatory things towards Fury, you have a guy in Fury who doesn't sue him for defamation for some kind of reason. Doesn't sue him for defamation. And this is what I'm talking about. It's two crazy dudes just dealing with each other. And they actually gave us a great trilogy. It was a fun trilogy. I loved it. And if these dudes could just get out of their own way, I can enjoy it more and I can enjoy them more. But I just can't because they're getting in their own way. And the thing with Wilder is, if he could have just accepted the L, it's there. Boxing is littered with example after example of a fighter losing to another fighter multiple times, but he still goes on to have a greater resume and be considered greater, although not better head to head, greater than the fighter he lost to. Jermaine Taylor beats Bernard Hopkins twice. Guess what? Nobody thinks Jermaine Taylor had a greater Bernard Hopkins. Shane Mosley beats Oscar De La Hoya twice. Oscar De La Hoya, greater career. Shane Mosley loses to Vernon Forrest twice. Shane Mosley, greater fighter than Vernon Forrest. It happens.
You can
still go and consistently put on a good resume after the Fury losses. And if you do that with Fury acting crazy right now, Fury is giving you an opportunity to catch up to him now. All right. So if Wilder would just consistently put fight after fight after fight after fight together, let's say he fights Usyk, let's say he fights Anthony Joshua, then he could be considered after all of this a better fighter after their careers than Fury, but that's not going to happen because they're both crazy.
I just want to know, like, what did they think was going to happen when they opened the gloves? Because like did they think they got him? Like, did they think they were going to be like, no, we can't open the gloves? Did they think that was going to happen or what? Because if you know anything about glove selection meetings, that request isn't that crazy, actually. That's why they have a bunch of the same pairs, okay? They have a lot of, like, the similar pairs and stuff. What did they think was going to happen? Beeb, Joe, what did they think? Oh, you're both called Joe, but to the two Joes here, like, did they think they were going to, like, open it and like, an egg weight was going to, like fall out of the glove and they were going to expose it to the world? See? There it is. Like, and then like the egg weight was going to, like, run away or something. Like, what, were they going to pull out a bunny rabbit from there? Like, what did they think was going to happen? Like, gypsy magic was going to come out of the glove or something? Or what?
It's crazy.
And I'm convinced that none of these dudes have ever worn egg weights, because if they did, they would understand that they would have destroyed Tyson Fury's hands. It's not something you do in a fight. Come on.
You don't do that.
If someone wore egg weights in their gloves, they would literally kill the other guy that they were hitting, especially a guy who's 270 like Fury, you know. And then Wilder saying in that teleconference there, oh well, why would I go to the police? I wanted to go in there. I wanted to go in there and try and kill the man. It's like, dude, like this ain't nothing to play. Like this ain't a WWE friggin' skit. You know what I mean? Like, killing a man is, you can't come back from that, bro. Do you really want to kill somebody? Do you really mean that? Because if that's the case, man, you got to question this guy's friggin' character, man. If he's saying he wants to go in there and literally kill somebody, who says that?
I mean, out of everything he said, that's at least my issue.
Crazy.
I mean, you know,
but
he did murder Stavern. I mean, technically speaking.
Whoa!
You know, I'm just saying.
Please.
Yeah. That's as close as I've seen murder where the guy didn't die.
Whoa! You can't say the M word here. Come on. You can't say the M word. That's over the line. Another fight that I just learned about, Jojo Diaz versus William Zepeda for October 29th. And this may sound crazy, but this is kind of a crossroads fight in the sense that, you know, Jojo Diaz can't afford to keep losing, right? So, you know, this is going to be Zepeda's probably biggest test, right? He's a young kid, big lightweight, very hard puncher, knockout artist, right? And you got a guy like Diaz, who's a very, very, you know, experienced fighter. He's a gritty fighter. He's a very good inside fighter, volume guy, pressure guy. This could turn out to be a really good fight. This is a fight to see if Diaz still belongs, and this is a fight for Zepeda to see if he does belong, if he does deserve to be in there, and if he is ready for for the bigger guys in the division. This is like kind of almost like a stepping stone, crossroads type, trial horse type fight for Zepeda. And this is like, again, another. This is basically either a revolving door for Diaz. What do you think of this fight, Calix? This could turn out to be a very, very entertaining fight.
Love it. It has fight of the year candidate written all over it. This could be a fight of the year fight. What I love about it is what you mentioned at the top. Jojo Diaz needs to get back on track, right? Lost to Devin Haney. He's looking to get back on track. This could give him a big win. And with Zepeda needs to get back on track because even though he hasn't lost, he hasn't looked good in the last couple fights. He really hasn't. He's been sort of lackluster. It's not like he's looking terrible, but considering what we thought of him a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was calling him the Mexican murder hornet. He was just running through guys. And these past 2 or 3 outings, he didn't look great. You know, he didn't look like the guy that I saw coming up. So you start to wonder, as they move him up, is he being sort of, I don't know. I don't want to say exposed. I don't want to use that word, but you know what I mean. And so you want him to get back on track as well. So this is a meaningful fight, but it's also a fight where both stocks can rise, right? If you have a fight of the year type of fight in which Jojo Diaz, pressure fighter, he's a pressure fighter who doesn't punch hard, especially at that weight. He's a pressure fighter who doesn't punch hard, but he's got a chin. He's got a hell of a chin. So you're expecting this to go rounds. And then you got a guy in Zepeda who also likes to pressure and wants to take your head off. And he can punch. So he's in there with a guy with a chin. We're going to see what plays out here. But either way, this is action. This is fireworks written all over it. And I hope it is one of those fights where both stocks rise and they both end up going to bigger and better things after. But I like Zepeda in this fight. I think he's going to pull it off. And this is going to be a fun fight.
I was just getting ready to ask you because I think Zepeda will probably be like a 2-1 favorite in this fight.
I think so too.
I was getting ready to ask you, do you think Diaz is live? I think Diaz is live, yes, man. Diaz is live.
Diaz is definitely live. He's the more, and I was saying it on my channel earlier, he's obviously more experienced and further along right now, more seasoned, more versatile, but Zepeda has the higher ceiling. So it depends on where Zepeda is at right now. It's just like it's the perfect meeting point for these guys. Both need to get back on track. More experienced guy, but he's dealing with a younger fighter who has earlier on who has a higher ceiling. So we're going to see where he's at this point in his career because all things being even, I think Zepeda pulls this fight out, but it's not going to be easy. It's just not going to be easy.
So you think it goes a distance?
I think so.
Yeah,
I do.
T, what do you think of this fight?
Zepeda's going to knock out Jojo Diaz. That's what's going to happen.
You get to end the stoppage, huh?
Yes, I do. Look, I mean, obviously, you know, I think Calix is referring to the Rene Alvarado fight, but like even Lamont Roach couldn't stop Rene Alvarado. You know, I just think sometimes guys are pretty good and they're going to give some guys some trouble, but it was never in doubt like that decision in my opinion. But before that, I mean, he's had a lot of great stoppages. I mean, Hector Tanajara out of the Robert Garcia gym was a great win. Just annihilated him. Like, this is a dangerous dude. And I remember after that fight, I said, I want, you know, him against Isaac Cruz. I think that's a hell of a fight between two punchers in the weight class. I would love to see that. And I think he beats Isaac Cruz, to be honest with you.
Me too.
But it's a good fight, though. I'm not counting Isaac Cruz out either. But Jojo is let's be honest, he's a little dude, right? He's a guy that's moved up in weight. You know, honorable. He's had some, and he's fought a puncher in Fortuna. It's not like he hasn't been in there with a guy that could crack, right? You know, so he's, you know, Jojo's no slouch. That's not what I'm saying, but this is going to be a little different, I think. I think the guy he's going to step in the ring with would destroy Fortuna. So, like, I think Jojo, I think he did a good account for himself against Haney because Haney can't hit that hard. Like, this is going to be a little different. Now, I will say, though, I do see JoJo winning the early rounds in this fight. And then somewhere in the middle rounds, the power will be too much. And I do think JoJo Diaz gets stopped. And look, I understand JoJo's never been stopped, okay, but he's never fought someone that could. This will be the hardest puncher he's ever been in the ring with, like, period. And I think he stops JoJo. Too small. Too small.
You know what worries me about Zepeda, though, is he's shown some poor IQ things in the ring past couple of fights. He gets knocked down in one of the fights, which that happens, I understand, but he left himself open. But then hitting a fighter while he's down and almost being DQ'd. Really, you could argue he should have been DQ'd in that fight because Roy Jones was DQ'd for less than that. So he's shown some poor IQ decisions in the ring, and I just worry about going in there with a vet because JoJo Diaz is a vet and he is seasoned. I just worried that Diaz might be able to get into his head a little bit in this fight.
And that's the thing that I was going to allude to at Calix before you brought it up is Zepeda gets frustrated in there sometimes. And that's why I think, when he gets frustrated, he gets a little reckless. He gets a little overzealous sometimes. And that's why, sometimes he gets hit with shots that maybe he shouldn't be getting hit with. That's why sometimes he gets buzzed. That's why he went down that time. So when you got a guy like Diaz, who is pretty durable, he's never been stopped before, but there is a first time for everything. I mean, anyone can get stopped, and he's in there with a big puncher. So I'm not ruling that out. I do think it, in my opinion, it may be unlikely, but it's definitely possible without question. But my thing is if Diaz just keeps coming at him, because Diaz just makes you work. You have to fight Diaz off you. And if those big shots aren't deterring Diaz, will Zepeda start to get frustrated? And will he start loading up? Will he start getting reckless? Will he start getting desperate? Will he start getting aggravated? And while he's doing those things, and if he does those things in the fight as it wears on, will he start making mistakes? Because one thing I do love about Diaz, he never gets discouraged. He has a poker face on him. Like, you can't really tell when he's hurt or not. He's been hit with some big shots, and he just rolls them, tucks his chin, keeps coming forward. He has a very strong defensive construct, Diaz. Even though he's tiny, he has a strong defensive base and defensive construct. It's hard to knock that guy off his square. And that's what I'm just thinking about. If he can't knock him off this square, will there be a problem later as the fight goes on? That's the big question mark. But I'm going to pick Diaz in this one. I think he'll score the upset. I think he's definitely got a shot here.
You're picking Diaz?
Yeah, I'm going to take Diaz.
Ooh.
I'm going to take Diaz. I think he's live. He's put in there for a reason. I know he is, but I think he's live.
I wondered about that when this fight was made. Usually you say the fighter's in there for a reason. When Zepeda is clearly the guy they want to win, but when this was announced, I didn't get that feeling. Like, I immediately said, this is a tough fight. It's a good fight. This is an action fight. It's a tough fight. So I wonder if Zepeda is one of those guys where they know the fan base isn't in there to keep the O. They're not interested in keeping the O. With Zepeda, there's going to be forgiveness. Zepeda's the type of guy, as long as he's giving you action fights, he can lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights, and his fan base will still be there as long as he's giving them entertaining action fights against decent opposition. I think there's going to be a lot of forgiveness with Zepeda because, is anybody expecting Zepeda to go through his career without a loss? I'm not. I think he'll have several losses on his resume, but that doesn't mean he can't be a great fighter. I just think he's a type of fighter, type of style who he wants to fight the best. He wants to be aggressive with his career. He's going to be in action fights. Naturally, he's going to lose some fights. So that's why I didn't think that when the Diaz fight was announced. I just thought Zepeda's a tough dude. He wanted to fight, and he's getting the fight. And I just worry about Diaz's punching power in this fight. I don't know if he'll be able to keep Zepeda honest.
That's a good question. It's a good question. Well, everybody's talking about whether or not these fights are going to happen this weekend, but I haven't heard any cancellation. So I'm going to just assume that they are going to happen until they officially get canceled. That there's going to be a weigh-in. It's going to be a closed weigh-in. So, if the fights were canceled, they wouldn't have the weigh-in. So I want to start off with Alycia Baumgardner versus Mikaela Mayer, because this fight could steal the show, right? And I just want to get you guys' thoughts on this fight. Do you think this could be the fight of the card? And how do you see this one playing out? We'll start with you, D.
I actually don't think it's going to be the fight of the night. I don't think it's going to be like, I hope I'm wrong, because I'm all for a good, exciting fight, right? But I just think Mayer's going to control her with the jab. I think Mayer's, she's long, she's a good boxer, she can fight on the inside. She's got that amateur pedigree. Not the Triple H pedigree, of course. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, but you can't hit those in boxing. And I also think she's a lot bigger than Baumgardner. Like, I'm talking about the frame. Like, she's Mayer will be boxing like in welterweight in the near future.
I agree.
Right? Baumgardner's going to be in his weight class for a while. So I think people are underestimating you could look at the stats and the numbers, but because Mayer fights a very controlled fight and doesn't just wing it out there and doesn't look for the knockout, it's just, if it comes, it comes. Because she has that style, she doesn't get a lot of knockouts, right? But I've heard her say in multiple interviews, like, look, if I had 3 minutes, a lot of my opponents would have been stopped.
Yeah.
And I believe it, because when you watch the fight, these women have had everything they can handle with her at that point. They look discouraged halfway through the fights, And she's been in there with girls that could crack. Helen Joseph could fucking crack, right? And she handled her like nothing, right? She's been in there with pretty solid boxers like Jennifer Hahn. Handled her like nothing, really. I mean, I actually think she had an easier time with her than even Katie Taylor did, to be honest with you, when it comes to Han. So I think, and the Hamadouche, like, I don't like seeing that name because it sounds, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but Hamadouche. And I'm just saying, I don't know, like it's whatever, but Hamadouche, yeah.
Walking a fine line tonight.
But I felt that girl could crack, and Mikaela stood in the pocket with her, fought her fight, and still beat her, right? So I just think Mikaela's going to win this, like 8 rounds to 2 type decision, in my opinion.
Yeah. Shout out to Ricky Ricardo. I apologize. This came up earlier, and I forgot to read it. If Fury don't try to unify with Usyk, he's simply holding the belt hostage. If Wilder versus Ruiz winner gets a hold of the WBC, Heyman will freeze out Usyk. Yes, he will. That belt will be frozen for as many years like Captain America was. Most definitely. Calix, what do you think about this Mikaela Baumgardner fight? How do you see this one playing out?
I agree with D-Style and doing film study. I like Mayer a lot over Baumgardner, but when I'm reading the odds and I'm looking for value in this fight, and it's not that Mayer is the big favorite, 2.5 to 1 favorite. So Baumgardner's a live dog. The issue here is if you look at the prop bets in results, Mikaela Mayer by decision is by far the most likely scenario. And the second most likely scenario is a lot wider, and that's Baumgardner by KO or Baumgardner by decision is all the way down to plus 550. So they're fully expecting Mikaela Mayer to do, as D-Style said earlier, jab, 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 control distance, control the pace of the fight, and control the fight, and win a pretty comfortable decision in this fight. I don't stray from that. I think the more exciting fight is the one we'll likely talk about next because of the intrigue, and especially when you look at the betting odds, the intrigue of can Claressa Shields handle the power and win on decision. So I think that's the intrigue of the night, and I think that's going to be the main fight is going to be the fight of the night. But good fight. I just tend to think that I agree with D-Style. 8 to 2, possibly 7 to 3. And cruise to decision victory and make it look easier than people think.
Shout out to Ricky Ricardo again. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, "Who do you feel can unify 140 after Taylor moves up?" Um,
Taylor.
I would say that Regis Prograis when Josh Taylor moves up. I think
Oh,
Regis.
he's talking about the man. My bad. My bad.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah.
Or man.
Yeah. So Josh Taylor moves up. Regis Prograis, in my opinion, will be the man. I think Regis Prograis beat Taylor. I mean, that's debatable, but I thought Regis Prograis won that fight. And in my opinion, I think Regis Prograis is the best fighter at 140. My opinion, but once again, that is arguable. Okay, so yeah, Mikaela versus Alycia Baumgardner. Alycia Baumgardner to me is more of a mid range type fighter. She likes to counterpunch a little bit too. She's not a volume person. She doesn't fight, on the outside. She's not a person that likes to grind it out on the inside. My big criticism before Mikaela Mayer early on was I didn't think she had an inside game, but she's definitely proven me wrong as of late because she's added a lot of body work up close. She's developed some good body work up close. She's shortening up shots on the inside, even though she's tall. She knows how to bend her knees and really grind it out on the inside. She's really developed, and she's shown a lot of versatility. We've seen her adapt in fights. We've seen her do different things, give different looks to her opponents. Where before early on she was more or less a stick and move outboxer, but she's added a lot of dimensions to her game, and she's trying harder to get better and better and better. You could see it. She's always been very athletic, very quick, pretty sharp puncher. She's got some decent pop to her shots. I gotta go with Mikaela Mayer here because she's got more tools in the toolbox. I think she's more versatile, and I think she's probably quicker too. And I think she's more athletic. I think she's probably got every edge against Baumgardner. You can argue maybe Baumgardner can hit harder, but I don't even know if that's the case. I think the power is very comparable because Mayer is a big girl at 130. She's not a small girl. She's a big girl in general. I mean, 5'9" is above average height for a female, and she's built, she's lean, she's cut. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mayer, and I would not be surprised if Mayer gets a late stoppage here. I'm gonna pick Mayer by decision, but I would not be shocked if she gets a late stoppage. And I agree with both of you. I think it's going to be a wide decision, maybe an 8 rounds to 2 type fight. I don't think this is going to be as competitive as advertised, but I hope I'm wrong. But that's just how much respect I have for Mikaela Mayer. Not that I disrespect Baumgardner. I just think there's a skill gap here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I saw her say something to Mayer like, she's like, I'm more athletic than you. And it's like if she thinks that's what's going to win her the fight, then God bless her. You know what I mean? Like I don't, that's not enough. And I think she's just trying too hard with the trash talk, in my opinion. Like Mayer is in like Mayer's doing something similar to like what Devin Haney was doing with Camboza when Camboza was trying to like talk tough or whatever. He was just kind of like, whatever, bro. Like, they're just saying you. Well, okay, you're trying to act tough, whatever. Like, she's kind of doing the same thing. Like, remember, did you see when they shook hands? And then Mayer goes, oh, look, she's doing the hard handshake. Ooh, I'm scared. Like, it's like, and that kind of, I don't know. I think that could she kind of like let go, like out of embarrassment.
I like Baumgardner, man, and I'm not ashamed to say this. She's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman, man.
So we're gonna go for her, right?
She's a beautiful woman. But this ain't a beauty contest, and the Beeb ain't taking her on a Saturday night. So I gotta go with Mayer. Mayer's very pretty too. Don't get me wrong, but Baumgardner is she's really pretty. But to me, Baumgardner. This seems like a false bravado. It seems like a lot of projecting. Seems like she's trying to convince herself of these things. And Mayer is just so calm, so relaxed. She's just kind of dismissing everything. She's kind of brushing everything off, laughing it off. And I just think Baumgardner is going to come out and she's going to be too uptight in this fight. I think she's going to make a lot of mistakes early on, and I think she's going to pay for those mistakes, in my opinion. So it is what it is. So let's get to the main event. This is for all the marbles. This is for middleweight supremacy in women's boxing. Press conference was today. These two females were talking smack back and forth to each other. I actually thought Marshall held her own. Everyone's saying that Marshall's the shy one. She's quiet. She doesn't have the loquacious lip like Claressa Shields, but she was picking her shots. She did some good work today with on the mic. So let's get right to it. Who do you guys got in this fight? Who do you think's going to win? And could this fight surpass the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight in terms of entertainment value? Let's start with you, Calix.
Yes, this will be the fight of the night. The intrigue of this fight is, can Claressa Shields handle the power of Savannah Marshall for 10 rounds? Will she be able to just outbox her without dealing with without the power getting to her? And I agree with Fury, I believe Peter Fury, talking at the press conference today. Neither one of these girls have seen anything close to what they're going to see on Saturday. If this fight does happen, neither one of them is going to see anything because they've largely fought very much inferior opposition up until this point. Not much in the division other than themselves. And it's a big jump for both fighters in this fight. I just tend to think that Shields hasn't seen power like she's going to see on Saturday. And when we look at the betting odds, Shields is now the slight favorite. But once again, if we look at prop bets, it's pretty close as to how they see this fight playing out. Shields plus 130 by decision. Marshall 250 by decision. Marshall by stoppage plus 270. This is close. It's very close. Toss-up. I tend to think that Savannah Marshall's power is going to win the day on Saturday, and she's going to win the fight. I don't know if it's going to be by stoppage. I don't know if it's going to be that by decision, but I do think that Shields is going to feel the power on Saturday. And one last thing, just watching the psychology of this, watching the press conference today and watching the build up to this fight, Marshall's not deterred or bothered at all by the trash talk. It's just not. Every once in a while, she'll give something back. She's not bothered at all. I don't sense that Shields has gotten into her head, and I think she's going to be fine. I think she's going to be fine on Saturday, and I think she's going to win the fight.
Yeah. Everyone in the chat that keeps saying the fight is canceled, it has not been canceled yet officially. They're doing the weigh-in tomorrow. They're waiting to see what's going on with the situation with the Queen, how they're going to handle the funeral arrangements. I'm sure the funeral probably won't be this weekend. It may. I'm guessing it's probably going to be Monday. Maybe they'll have obviously the wake services over the weekend. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I'm speculating strongly that I don't think the funeral is going to be, over the weekend. So we don't know. It could be canceled, could be postponed.
I do want to say, if I'm, I just want to say something because it might be, and I just want to kind of talk about that a little bit. But first, really quick, Marshall Shields to me is like hopefully the fight happens, right? But it's a fight that intrigues me stylistically. Because this is where you have someone like a Marshall who, look, just like Shields, she has the amateur background. She's got she's been to the Olympics. She just wasn't as successful, right? She didn't win a medal, much less a gold medal, right? She was favored at the 2012 Olympics, and she got eliminated, I believe, in the first round. Right? Yeah, like. Because apparently she had a mental breakdown or whatever. Now, she was a little girl back then. And I think that's the part that people keep forgetting. Like she was just a little girl. And one may say, well, hey, it could still happen or whatever. But I think they're both different fighters than they were back then. None of them are the same fighter at all, like whatsoever. And you have someone who's a good boxer puncher versus a pure boxer. And these are very intriguing fights to me. I'm not expecting Savannah Marshall to outbox Shields for 10 rounds, right? But do I believe she could be competitive with her and stay in the pocket and punch with her to land her big shots? Yes, I do. Do I believe she could hurt Shields? You bet your ass I do believe she could hurt Shields. She could hurt her with either hand. And when you hurt somebody, when you wobble somebody, when their equilibrium is thrown off, it changes everything. Like even a more skilled opponent, because we know Shields is more skilled, but by how much? Like, is it really that big of a gap? Is it as big of a gap that Shields has been used to? She's used to having such a big gap in speed and skill, and she's still faster than Marshall. She's more skilled than Marshall, but how much? I do know this. Shields hits nowhere near as hard as Marshall. Nowhere near as hard as Marshall does. Nowhere near. So what I'm expecting a fight where early on Shields will be winning. That's what I expect. But then at some point she's going to get hit. And the way Shields fights, like all the advantages she has in terms of speed, combinations, and all, it's going to go away. I believe Shields by the mid-round is going to be resorting to one punch at a time to try to outpoint Marshall. She'll probably be looking at the clock at times. And Marshall's going to be stalking her. Because I don't believe, but listen to me, I don't believe Shields has the power to keep Marshall off of her. I don't. Marshall could keep Shields off of her. All right? But and another thing, a good jab can fluster even a superior boxer. The jab is a hell of a weapon, and Marshall's got it, and she's long. People have laughed at me for this pick. People have said I'm crazy. I'm picking Marshall by stoppage late. That's what I'm picking. I believe she's going to stop Claressa Shields. I believe it's going to happen. And I know what people – and here's the other thing. Like, Shields is in Mayweather. Okay? So people act like she's this master boxer. Like, Shields is a really good, fundamentally sound boxer who is a lot faster than her opponents. That's what she is. Okay? That's what she is. So don't give me this like, oh, she's going to figure out Marshall. And Shields has never been in a position where she had to figure out an opponent. She's always been ahead of the curve. She's always been ahead of her opponents from jump. She's always overwhelmed her opponents from the beginning. So all I'm saying is I'm not saying that means she's going to lose. I'm just saying she could lose. All right? Just think about it. I think the fight is dangerous. And this is how I personally feel about it. Like, I think I got Marshall.
Yeah. And, well, your pick is not crazy. I'm hearing a lot of people picking Marshall. And a lot of people are picking her by stoppage. The thing I think about with Claressa Shields is her footwork is incredible. And I think her footwork wins her fights. She is so quick on her feet. She's got quick hands. She knows how to outmaneuver her opponents. So she's never in the same spot for too long. She's constantly moving, whether it's subtle or whether it's great movement, whether it's accentuated movement or it's subtle movement. She is constantly moving. She doesn't stand still for her opponent. So it's really hard to pin her down. And when you got a person that has great head movement, who's quick on her feet, that once again, another great defensive construct, strong, gets low. You know, her hands are so quick. She's not, I mean, she does still have that amateur mentality where she's trying to run them combinations and get out of there, right? All the while you know, piling up the points. What's going to win Shields this fight is her footwork and her defense. I don't think Marshall's going to be able to land that shot flush and land it clean enough to get Claressa out of there. She could do it. It's not impossible. But once again, you know, Christina Hammer was another one. You know, she had a lot of experience. She had a lot more experience than Claressa Shields. She was a hard right-hand puncher, just like Savannah Marshall as well. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you know, Christina Hammer is not Savannah Marshall." Yeah, but people forget how much experience Christina Hammer had at that point and has now. How many fights she fought, especially going into that Shields fight. And she had some signature knockouts with that right hand. You know, I picked Christina Hammer to beat Claressa Shields, and Claressa Shields cleaned her clock. She dominated her. It wasn't even competitive. I think I gave Christina Hammer 1 round in that fight, right? And not only that, when Shields does get close to you, she knows how to frustrate you. She bumps you. She nudges you. She's very strong. So if she gets close to you and you try to grab her and hold her, she knows how to nudge and slip up underneath. And she's just very hard to contain up close, right? So I can see Claressa Shields going in and out, stepping off to the side, turning Savannah Marshall in this fight. I just think Savannah Marshall is going to have a hard time pinning Claressa Shields down. She's going to have to hit her with something big and freeze her. But that's going to be a big if she can do that. I just think Claressa Shields is going to outmaneuver and outwork Savannah Marshall in this fight. I just think the speed is going to be too much. You never know. Yeah. You never know how wide this speed gap is. Many times we've said before a fight, this guy's much faster than this guy, and when they get in the ring, it's not the case. So you could be right. Maybe Marshall could be quick. Maybe she's not showing a ton of. Like, Marshall's got the explosive speed with her punches, but we've never really seen her move a lot in fights. So she's been more of a stalker. Right? Well, Claressa Shields has kind of been an ambush in and out. She's been an outboxer. She's been stick and move. She slides back, counter punches. We'll see. Just by my own perception, I think Shields has a wide speed advantage. I could be wrong because, again, like you said, when they're both in the ring, we'll find out because sometimes it's deceptive. We don't always know until we see them both in there together. But go ahead. You wanted to make a point?
Yeah. Well, look, like Shields is the Ferrari in here. Like, you know what I mean, in terms of speed. But she's been racing like 4-cylinder engines. You know what I mean? Now, like I'm not saying Savannah's a Ferrari, but it says 8-cylinder engine now. You know what I mean? With a lot of power, like a lot of horsepower. So I think that's what the difference is here. Now, I do want to say this. I just want to address the outlook because, in fairness, the chat's been clamoring about this the whole night. But, God bless the Queen. Look, first of all, my condolences to the Queen and to everybody that feels close to the Queen. I mean, it is what it is.
To the royal family, to the
royal family and the highnesses and all that. Okay, I get it. Okay, and she's been getting the condolences and stuff like that. And look, I didn't know the Queen, right? I'm sure she was a good person or whatever, but God bless her. But I just want to say this. I don't know that, like, obviously, I guess in the history of England, they shut everything down when the king or the queen dies. And I get it, like I get tradition, and I don't want to lecture the UK on what they should or should not do, but I don't relate. I'm sorry, I don't like, we don't cancel event like when Ronald Reagan died, we didn't cancel a boxing match. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like they did a 10-bout. You can't do a 10-bout salute for the Queen. But is that what's wrong with what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like. Well, you could
96 years
celebrate.
old.
You could celebrate
96
the life
years
of the
old.
Queen. I don't think the Queen would have wanted people to cancel this card. I'm just going to say that right now. I think she would have wanted people to do this historic event, all women's card. Okay, the first Queen, like she was the Queen of England. She would have wanted this card to go on, and you could celebrate her life, and you could show how far England has come, and show let these women do their thing, do a 10-bell salute for the Queen of England. You know what I mean, and pay her tribute. Mm-hmm. And and I don't want to sound detached. And I know, Beeb, I know you're the adopted son of England stuff, but or the UK, I should say. But like I can't relate. I don't have a king or queen.
I'm taking a couple of days off from work because of this. And
no, but what I'm saying is,
this is a big deal for me.
I'm just saying,
this is a big deal for me.
Like, yes, God bless the Queen.
I have citizenship over there, man. So I'm like,
So what? Like, so
hurt me just as much as anyone else.
So life just stops because this happened. Like, we don't do this for anybody. Like, come on, what's going on over here? Like, I'm not even telling people how to feel, how to mourn. I'm not telling people how to do anything.
You gotta stop.
I'm just saying you don't need to cancel a boxing event.
This is disrespectful right now.
Like, do they need to cancel the event?
I didn't know this was a thing, and I'm getting mixed messages as to if this is really a thing, by the way, because people were out there earlier saying it's a 10-day moratorium, 10 days. You got to take 10 days, no sport. They say no sport for 10 days. And then other people out there saying that's not even a thing.
Yeah, because she's been alive for 100 years. Like modern sports have only been around for like 70 years. Like where did this president start?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you, I don't really understand this. I don't get it.
So let's say the Olympics.
You're already corrupting people. I just got a text message. I just got a WhatsApp message from one of my UK friends. You know what he said?
Oh boy,
I'm with D-Style. He said all Beeb Industries offices in the UK are closed. Of course they are. So you're already corrupting people. You're already corrupting people.
Joe, like you need to understand, so all these boxers that have been preparing for this,
what's wrong with you?
Have to cancel their event because unfortunately the Queen passed away. Like if they what, are they going to bring her back to life or what? Like you can't bring her back to life. I just it's not gonna bro. Like if I die, I don't want people to cancel shit. Like no, do what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, well, what do you mean? Like celebrate my life and say you're gonna I don't know. Just say this win is for the Queen or whatever. Like you know what I mean? They could do the "Long Live the Queen" national anthem at the event. Like okay, so tell me, London 2012, if she would have died then, they would have canceled the Olympics. Every athlete needs to oh, I'm sorry, there's no Olympics because the Queen passed away.
Imagine how great God Save the Queen before the main event for an all-female main event would be. Imagine how uplifting that would be for the country. Imagine that, Beeb. Imagine that.
I mean, look, she lived a great life, right? She lived a life of luxury. She lived. I mean, she didn't have to drive nowhere. People drove her there. She didn't have to cut her own steak. They cut her steak.
Breaking my heart right now, man.
You know what I mean? She lived a great life.
Breaking my heart right now.
There's people that die every day in poverty, and we don't stop everything we're doing because they died. And I get it. She's a public figure in that, but were events canceled when John F. Kennedy was assassinated? I just don't believe they need to cancel the event because someone had a long, happy life.
This is too much.
And you know what? It's sexist if they cancel this event. Because if Tyson Fury was boxing, they don't stop the event. If Anthony Joshua was boxing at Wembley, they don't cancel the event. They're going to do this to the women? Is that what they're going to do?
You're going to bring the Me Too movement and tie it into this? You're going to conflate those two issues? Are you serious?
I'm just saying, do you think the Queen would have wanted this event to be canceled?
I'm going to demonetize this video. This is blasphemous.
I don't think she knew any sporting event. I don't think she was a sport fan at this particular point in her life. So I don't think she even knew that this event was taking place. But once again, I'm speculating. But have the event.
And what's the precedent for this? Like what boxing events were held? I just don't.
What I just heard, I got a message again from one of my UK friends. So far, all I've heard is that Sky Sports are going to go ahead with this fight. So
There you go.
I think this fight's going to go. I think this fight's going to go on, and I'll tell you why. Because they won't be able to reserve the arena for another date. I don't think there's too many fights going on right now in the UK. Where they rescheduled it, they already postponed this fight one time. So if they postpone it again, like it's going
You are throwing off these fighters if you postpone this like a week or two. You're throwing them off. Like they're prime and ready right
now. That's why it's a
universal
event.
Going to happen.
Yeah, this event don't belong to England. It belongs to the world.
I'm going to have to require you to apologize for your crass behavior in regards to
I didn't say anything derogatory or nothing like that.
You were very, very dismissive of the Queen, and you were minimizing her significance over in our great land.
He's using language like our country over here, like
our great country in Great Britain.
I don't hear an accent at all. All I hear is that Rhode Island, that Northeast accent.
Yeah, like he's from Boston where they shot the red coats. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't get this, but this is what I'll say, right?
We fought to get away from that.
I said from the beginning.
Called for at this particular time.
I said from the beginning. I'm not going to judge the UK and their culture. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. If it's a big thing over there, cool. I get it. I'm being honest when I say I can't relate to it. Okay, that's number one. I can't. Like, you know what I mean? But I will say this: honor the Queen with some good boxing. You know what I mean? Give us some good fights. Sing. They could do the song. They could sing "God Bless the Queen" all night if they want. You know, they could just sing it all night. You know what I mean? Celebrate the Queen. I think they could turn it into a celebration of the Queen's life. I just want the fight, but whatever, like, will sell it to them. You know what I mean?
Okay. That being said, deepest condolences go out to the royal family. I want to wish everyone in the chat great evening. Stay safe out there, man. And God save the Queen.
God save the Queen.
Sure.